Hello, you are welcome to meeting Baku International Policy and Security Network. Experts discuss about result Global World Forum, which was in Baku. What importance for us this meeting event?
Baku Fourth International Global Forum, and as the name stands, it was the first time Baku hosted such an event, and it brings closer together former government officials and foreign ministers, head of state and government, and in the meantime it involves incumbent presidents and head of states and some other government officials, and also media representatives and NGOs and some others coming closer together to discuss the concerning issues for the global peace and security. And it's not also accidental that Azerbaijan and Baku particularly host for the first time this event. And Baku already is in a place where the important economic issues are discussed. Baku is also host for international humanitarian issues that's widely discussed. In a way, Azerbaijan is hosting International Baku International Humanitarian Forum, Baku Forum for Intercultural Dialogue, and upcoming months in April, Baku will also host a United Nations Alliance of Civilization. In a way, we can claim that Baku is a cultural, business, economic center around the region, but with the first Baku Global Forum, we can also claim that Baku is also diplomatic capital in the Caspian and wider Black Sea region. And there are very few capitals in the world that can claim to the status of being diplomatic capital, like Vienna, Brussels. In Africa, it's an Addis Ababa, but in our part of the world, I believe Baku can claim for the role of being a diplomatic capital where important global issues are discussed. And also here I would like to highlight in general the philosophy of Baku Global Forum, because Nizami Ganjavi International Center is also around the organizers. And this Baku Forum, I believe Azerbaijan also introduced its own concept towards approaching the international global and security issue. In a way, it's also deriving from the philosophy of Nizami Ganjavi. Back in the 12th century, Nizami Ganjavi, while writing his poem Iskendarnama about Alexander the Great, he was in the process of seeking justice towards international relations. What we have in our current international system is a lack of justice. And behind the justice, we have international principles of international law and norms of international relations. But unfortunately, current international relations, we couldn't provide rule-of-based approach.
You mean it's Nagorno-Karabakh conflict?
In a way, yes. Armenia-Azerbaijan Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. His Excellency Mr. President Ilham Aliyev also extensively touched upon Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict and also experience of Azerbaijan where we faced injustice. In a way, Azerbaijan faced occupation and aggression. Armenia unleashed in war against Azerbaijan and occupied sovereign territories of Azerbaijan. And besides, the issues were clearly highlighted and endorsed by the Charter of the United Nations, but unfortunately we didn't see enough and effective international reaction towards the Armenian occupation against Azerbaijan. And nevertheless, President also highlighted that we have 4 Security Council, UN Security Council resolutions, and this is a body that's responsible for international peace and security. And unfortunately, we don't see the mechanisms of implementation of these resolutions that are still on papers. Therefore, international relations and this current period of time needs a lot of discussions, and particularly how we can bring law-based or rule of law-based approach towards international relations, and also again returning back to the concept of justice of Azerbaijan that's also deriving from the philosophy of Nizami Ganjavi. And it's also not accidental that when Azerbaijan was elected to the UN Security Council non-permanent seat in 2012 and 2013, and it was declared by Mr. President that the priorities of Azerbaijan will be seeking of justice in the UN Security Council as well, and we believe that in its actions, UN Security Council should also be guided by the justice.
Yeah. It's very important for us because in speech our President Ilham Aliyev told about Azerbaijan is the crossroad. We are member of European Council, and we are member of Islamic Cooperation Organization, and this means we take 2 parts, and we had the bridge between 2 civilization and 2 tradition, and we do it all the best to peaceful world. This part of connect with terrorism of the world, and this part is very interesting for us. what told about terrorism?
Syria, Iran, Afghanistan,
Yeah.
the migration crisis, energy security, all of these issues, they were discussed during this forum. And what is good actually that head of states, prominent politicians, head of governments, all of them gathered in Baku and they tried to find a resolution for all of these issues. Today, Europe is dealing with migration crisis, we all know about it. And by the way, for example, in this case, Azerbaijan can share its experience in dealing with refugees because as we know, in 1990s, when Armenia occupied Nagorno-Karabakh, Azerbaijan, we had like million refugees. At that time, it was the highest amount of refugees per capita because at that time the population of Azerbaijan was like 8 million.
8 million,
yes. So we can share our experience how this didn't turn into humanitarian catastrophe in Azerbaijan because Azerbaijan managed to solve this. Then, regarding the conflict resolutions, now we see what's going on in Middle East. So Azerbaijan can share its experience in conflict resolution too, because despite of possibility to resolve the conflicts through military means, Azerbaijan is holding negotiation. Azerbaijan is trying to peacefully resolve the Karabakh conflict. Azerbaijan, during these 2 days, during the Baku IV Global Forum, became some kind of a platform for the great minds to discuss the modern issues, modern problems. And I think that the next forum, which will be held on April, the United Nations, on United Nations Alliance of Civilization Forum, it will be the next step.
Let me add, regarding this forum, I should say that I share the views which my colleague Hikmet and Aynur said, that Baku is becoming the center of multicultural events, and this is very important because, as we know, Azerbaijan is located on the crossroads of East and West. This is also on the center of North and South, and this is very important where you can come and share your experience. You can speak aloud what your problems, you can speak about the global problems, which is really very actual, topical throughout the world. And speaking about the conflicts which are really scattered all around the world, which we can see on the map, on the political map of the world, and see hot points on every continent, every part of the earth, we can say that really the Baku Forum was very, very sound to today's world. And why Baku and why Azerbaijan? So as you know, we are suffering from a conflict for nearly 20 years. For over 20 years, the conflict has remained unsolved, and it is, as the great minds also note, that it is really a problem, an obstacle for the development of the region, and not only Azerbaijan, which makes it very actual to solve it. But unfortunately, because of the obstacles, artificial obstacles, the conflict remains unsolved. And if the conflict was resolved at a time, then we would not see maybe such great, larger scale of conflicts throughout the world. We see the migration catastrophe, humanitarian catastrophes throughout the world, which now has crossed to even peaceful Europe.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a world problem because in the Global Forum, Azerbaijan push all negotiations, all relationship between country, push peaceful situation.
And actually, returning back to the main objective of the forum and the headline of the forum, it was like building multipolar world, or towards a multipolar world. And in our world, we have multiple challenges, and it's also acknowledged and admitted by everyone, but it's not in the power of every single country or every single power to tackle all important security-related issues at a world level. And therefore, Baku platform, looking forward multipolar world, brought together, and almost there was a representative from all continents all around the world, and experts coming together, and maybe they're coming from the countries but don't share common views, or maybe they have in a certain extent confrontation among themselves, but they're coming to Baku and enjoying within a peaceful environment and also democratic environment of having a closer discussion on most acute problems of international issues. Looking at the agenda of the program, where extensively was discussed Syrian crisis, Afghanistan, what is the future, and also the current global peace and security related issues and what we can expect from the tomorrow. And in the meantime, there was smaller sessions dedicated on topical issues like integration, migration, radicalism and extremism, multiculturalism, or dialogue among civilizations. These are the issues. And in the meantime, philosophical or conceptually, if we are looking at the forum, there were two concepts of fighting with one another. And in the meantime, we have seen introduction of the third concept by Azerbaijan. The first one, I may claim in a way, was a discussion around Samuel Huntington's Clash of Civilization concept, which dates back mid of the 90s, in a way utopical concept, and unfortunately we do see some elements of this concept in reality. Unfortunately, it's quite an unfortunate development. And then from another triangle, we see the concept of Fukuyama's end of the history concept, as if after the Second World War, liberal democracy will triumph all around the world. And unfortunately, it's also a utopic concept because liberal democracy in the European concept or Western concept is not applicable to all around the world. And in all of this process, we have seen third concept introduced by Azerbaijan, that's based on the traditions, development, social, economy, political development concept of Azerbaijan that we have achieved during 20 years of our independence, and particularly last decade was characteristic in the development of Azerbaijan. And Azerbaijan's own development concept and vision towards international issues, of course, based on the long history, traditions, culture, and statehood culture of Azerbaijani people. And while discussing then Afghanistan or Syrian issue, for example, or Syrian crisis, since the beginning of the Syrian crisis, Azerbaijan always said, and it was reiterated by Mr. President in latest London donor conference, that first of all, we should guarantee ceasefire. And afterwards, we can start tackling of the humanitarian tragedy, because in its own experience, Azerbaijan also faced the biggest humanitarian tragedy after the Second World War in the history of Europe. And we have 1 million refugees, and currently entire Europe shocked how they cannot accommodate and feed 200 or 300 or 500,000 refugees. But a relatively small Azerbaijan at that time accommodated 1 million refugees. But how we tackled it, we have our own experience, and quite positive experience. But unfortunately, we were alone at that time. But we emphasized and re-emphasized once again. But for example, Syrian crisis, when we have humanitarian catastrophe, first of all, we should start about the ceasefire, and then the all-inclusive political process should start tackling Syrian crisis. Then Afghanistan is another issue, and extensively was discussed. Looking at the experience of Azerbaijan, of course, we also contributed to the international peacekeeping operations in Afghanistan, and Azerbaijan was also NATO ISAF operation, and we also expressed our determination that we will continue to support resolute support mission after 2015 for Afghanistan. But Azerbaijan's contribution to Afghanistan is beyond like a military or law enforcement or intelligence cooperation. It's like a contribution to the long-term statehood process. Different Afghanistan civilian institutions are coming to Azerbaijan and taking part different courses as a border service, or Afghanistan diplomats, or economic specialists, or transport specialists coming, and we are sharing our experience. And these are the issues that extensively discussed, and of course Azerbaijan also shared these experiences. What the Global Forum gave in Azerbaijan, first of all, yes, we all agree among ourselves that it was an important platform, but all important issues are discussed in Baku. And in the meantime, these other issues are also Azerbaijan part of and responsible part of the international community. And it was our own contribution, because these other problems needs to be thoroughly discussed at all levels. And in the meantime, Azerbaijan provided this venue. Let's come together, discuss, and dialogue, cooperation, mutual understanding, and finding common ways. The most acute problems is only the best solution towards the global security problems.
I think that we need to show Azerbaijan to the world, because the world should see that there is a country, there is an island of peace, where different ethnicities live in peace without any disagreement, without any conflict within. And in case when 20% of the territories, again, we should stress here, are under occupation, and it is occupied by a neighboring country. Despite that, the nation is continuing its development, its progress, and it has no hatred to any other nation within it. This is really perfect civilization. I think this is really the roots of perfect civilization is a land of fire. And if we go to the history, back to the history and see what was going in Azerbaijan centuries ago, we can see that peace spirit dominated in Azerbaijan in every century. So our treatment with all nations, with all ethnicities living.
It's our view of the world, but reality is very
we need to demonstrate to the world that the world cannot exist without this peace, without this treatment, and without this spirit. So this is, I think, major message from Azerbaijan to the world. And discussing these very big global problems in small Azerbaijan shows that you can also provide this peace, this style of life throughout the world and in your country. And I think all participants to the forum, in fact, will, and they did it, in fact, and they will speak in their countries about this model of multiculturalism.
Okay, I'm full agree, because small Azerbaijan made big platform where all the world discuss about future.
And also, we should speak about our developments. What was the secret, let's say, even in brackets, what was the secret of our developments? Because our foreign policy was in the way guided by tolerance. So we are very accurate in our foreign policy when building relations with our neighbors and other countries. We take into account almost all parameters, and this is the secret of success, I think, and I think Hikmet can add my opinion.
Exactly. I agree with you that exactly Baku Forum now, with its own potential, can be in a way compared with Munich Security Conference, with its own contributions, and nevertheless, Munich Security Conference has around 4 decades behind it. And then Davos Economic Forum, and in a way, Baku Global Forum was in a combination of security, economic, political, and cultural, and some other issues are brought together, and we had a view and shared from Baku towards the international issues. And within this process, of course, an experience of Azerbaijan on many terms, and including experience of Azerbaijan based on tolerance, on multiculturalism, is in a way that we can share with the international community. And of course, in the experience of Azerbaijan at the practical level, on our daily life, we were successful enough to disprove the politicians who attempted to say that multiculturalism as if failed and is not a livable concept, but in the experience of Azerbaijan is part of our daily life. And most important characteristic feature of Azerbaijan's experience of multiculturalism, unfortunately, and some politicians or in some societies, people tend to use the word tolerance. Yes. But in the experience of Azerbaijan, we never use tolerance. If we are looking back to the literal understanding of the word tolerance, as if you are here and I am here. I am, in a way, tolerating your existence.
Yes,
and it doesn't mean exactly whether I like it or not, But in the experience of Azerbaijan, tolerance is an inclusive process. We are respecting other cultures as we are respecting our own culture, and it's a very inclusive process. We are bringing together different ethnicities and religious confessions and cultures, and all of them coming together, and within that we have a multiculturalism concept of Azerbaijan. That's in a way answer to many international peace and security issues that we have at a global level. Unfortunately, we have seen the elements of confrontation. It's quite an unfortunate process that some politicians, or even, of course, terrorist groups and some others are attempting to misuse the concept, the true values of religion for their own purposes. And in this complex world, I believe the concept of Azerbaijan, based on multiculturalism and towards the understanding of other cultures and civilization, is a good answer to many international issues. And within that, we have, and of course, balanced and multivectorial foreign policy of Azerbaijan. And this foreign policy, of course, pursues national interests of Azerbaijan, but with national interests of Azerbaijan are in a way in the system of harmony with the interests of other nations, and the final purpose of this process is a contribution to the prosperity of others. It's a win-win situation. It's for example, mutually beneficial cooperation is a benefit for everybody. Looking at a regional level, Azerbaijan, Georgia, at neighboring countries, Azerbaijan, Georgia, or Turkish cooperation, or trilateral cooperation between these three countries. We are shaping the pattern of ideal regional cooperation, but as a result of which the peoples of three countries are benefiting from that. We are ready to share it with some others as well. Or looking at the wider regional level, East-West corridor or South-North corridor. And Azerbaijan is in a way central transportation hub in this process, and once fully operational with transport concepts, all people living in this region and the countries will get a benefit from that. Therefore, it's time for Armenia to think about it. It's a self-isolated country. It's out of this regional development, and it is facing huge demographic, social, political issues. In a way, it's in a country that living under the terms of financial economic crisis. Therefore, it's part to be to play a civil role in the regional cooperation platforms, but it's up to Armenia to take back or backtrack its claims against neighboring countries, and of course to seize its policy of occupation against Azerbaijan and to liberate occupied territories of Azerbaijan and destroy its armed forces. It's only a possible solution of resolution of Armenian-Azerbaijan conflict, and as a result of which entire region utilize its capacity for regional cooperation, and first of all, Armenian people can also benefit from this regional cooperation.
I think there is understanding, because in Armenia, some people understand result of occupation Nagorno-Karabakh give Armenians this situation, this crisis, it's economical and political crisis. I think our view much more better, because our hospitality give us a view for peaceful situation in our country, because our relationship, I think, step by step go forward. Last visit our president to Iran, and so much meetings and visits around Europe, and last invitation in United States, in nuclear summit. It's examples that our foreign policy, thank you for you and you, our friends and foreign minister, and of course our head, our president, Ilham Aliyev, it's a good deal for us. And what I want to ask you about, what do you think our relation with economical side, economical light? Because some heads of delegation discuss about our oil policy and then. What do you think?
The world today is undergoing serious economic crisis because the decline in oil prices, it's damaged many countries, especially those who are producing and exporting energy resources. But I think that thanks to Azerbaijan's leadership policy, the reforms, the reorientation to export, diversification of economy, all of this helped Azerbaijan to manage this problem, and we didn't see the severe effect of this crisis. So this is also the example of how Azerbaijan is dealing with the problems, with the issues.
I just want to say that no one is guaranteed from a crisis. You can face it everywhere, be it in the human life, be it in political life, be it in economic life. So crisis is everywhere and no one is guaranteed. But what is important in this issue is the approach of the government to the crisis and how to tackle the crisis, in fact. So every time the president, Azerbaijani president, states that a citizen of Azerbaijan is in core of the state policy, I think that this greatly helped the Azerbaijani government to tackle the problems, to tackle the crisis, and not to be sensible the results of this crisis in the society. And in fact, the International Monetary Fund and other international financial institutions, in fact, outlined Azerbaijan's true approach to the crisis and its true tools how to tackle this crisis. And before, Azerbaijan had great projects, and now it has to intensify these projects to upcover this the unpleasant results of falling oil prices or the economic clashes that we face today.
What do you think after this event? Next step in April we have Global Forum, World Forum. Yes. What is result for us? What is give us for in future? What do you think?
Actually, intention of Azerbaijan in all of this process and hosting Baku Force Global Forum and upcoming events is to make a world a better place. And in its own experience, Azerbaijan faced many challenges and security challenges, and it was an immediate national security challenge where our territories have been occupied and we faced with a war, humanitarian catastrophe. And therefore, in the experience of Azerbaijan, we would like to share with the world that there are opportunities and possibilities if we are coming together and cooperating in good spirit, and in such a way we can contribute to the global peace and security. That was a message of Force Baku Global Forum, that let's come together, work towards a multicolored world, and let's make this world a better place for all of us. And then, of course, Force Baku Global Forum will be followed up with the next forum, the 5th Baku Global Forum, hopefully coming, it's in the pipelines. And it's an already well-established tradition of Force Baku Global Forum, but its results are brought together as in one paper, recommendations from the participants, and they're making their appeal to other international organizations, other countries, or think tanks and NGOs, so that we'll have a continuation of this discussion. And then, of course, in April, Baku will be featured of hosting another important event, that's the United Nations Alliance of Civilization, and I believe we are privileged and honored to host such an event, and we are also thankful for other countries in the executive board of Alliance of Civilization supporting. When Azerbaijan made this initiative, we simply had a unanimous support from other countries, and saying that Baku will be excellent venue to discuss with the issues of multiculturalism and dialogue of civilizations. And in this period of time in our world, really, we need more communication, more dialogue among the civilizations and within the civilizations and cultures as well. Therefore, Baku, I believe, has a right to contribute to such discussions among the civilizations and within the civilizations as well.
That's the result. Thank you for joining us today. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.